Hi, everybody. I'm Rob Engel. Welcome to Gray Area. And today I'm super excited to be here talking with Nathan Leong, the owner, founder, and managing partner of one of Manhattan's hottest venues, Somewhere Nowhere. Nathan, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So, Nathan, the first question I want to ask is, I remember it very vividly when Somewhere Nowhere opened in the summer of 2021. It was like line around the door, one of the hottest clubs to get into, and quickly became one of those hot spots in Manhattan, and for good reason. The venue boasts amazing views of the city, an awesome rooftop pool, one of my favorites in the city, and also just a line of amazing musical programming that I'm excited to get in to with you, but want to kind of just start out. If you could ask if you could paint a picture of Somewhere Nowhere for somebody who might not have visited before, how would you describe the venue?
So pretty much a magical place, a very whimsical place. It's a place where we wanted to, give the patron, a very immersive experience in terms of the look and the feel and the atmosphere. So the whole concept was actually, it's built around my favorite things growing up, my favorite childhood book, movies and, concepts. I'm a guy that loves fairy tales, Narnia, Lord of the Rings and all that stuff, and I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, a tropical island. So,
Hmm.
I always wanted to create something that kind of like brought home, brought where I was born and raised, and that's a lush, magical, island and all that stuff. So that's what, with the decor and all that stuff. Hopefully, when people walk in there, they're able to see that with the, the our secret hanging gardens and all that stuff, right? So it's really to transport people to a different space in one of the greatest cities in the world, if not the greatest, right?
Yeah.
So the name Somewhere Nowhere actually, hopefully it translates that is, you're somewhere, in this world, one of the best cities, obviously, but the whole thing is when we take you upstairs, we take you to a place where, you kind of forget where you are. Any problems you have in life or in work, if you have a stressful day, come up here, forget that you're in New York City. We do that with the drinks, with the food, the ambience that we create, and pretty much the whole experience of going up, and then, to elevate it, we look for, we bring different type of like musical formats,
Hmm.
from all sorts of cultures and whatnot, from jazz, from hip hop to house to deep house, everything from all around the world. And this is almost like, creating a melting pot of different style of musics.
Hmm.
We're very music oriented, and hopefully you guys get to enjoy it if you've never been to our space.
Yeah, I can personally attest. It's an awesome space, great views. Like I said, amazing rooftop. And Nathan, want to kind of touch on some of the, I guess, musical programming you've been doing in the past, I guess, 2.5 years since you've been opening. First, I want to kind of talk a little bit more about the house and techno space.
Year and a
Recently,
half.
what was that?
Officially a year and a half.
Oh,
We're
officially.
going, we're going into our second year this coming June.
Oh, fantastic. Okay,
Yeah.
great. And I think a testament to your success is the caliber of the house and techno artists that you all have been booking. In recent memory, it's been people like Green Velvet, Bob Moses, Tini Gessler, Wax Motif, Sonny Fodera, Don Bresky, certainly some big names. So could you talk a little bit about the, I guess, philosophy around the types of artists that you're booking, kind of the sound that you're curating through booking these artists?
So the sound that we create in terms of for the nightlife programs,
Mhm.
it's very based on, what I love as, I DJ on the side, that's one of my hobbies, DJed for almost like 6, 7 years. And it's one of those things where I wanted to bring that, you know, pretty much bring the experience that I have, as a person that loves music and my musical taste to, to a table, and, hopefully people enjoy it, which they have. How we pick out stuff is, for example, like one of our favorites is finding unique artists that play live. You know,
Yeah.
for example, like your Monolinks, your Bob Moses, or or the legends. And people that are kind of like going after your guys like Gordo, where that he did a full like transformation from trap into tech and deep house, which he's completely dominating right now. It's finding those key guys, and that specific sound that goes with the whole all around the world vibe. So so sorry to interrupt. So like pretty much we wanted to bring in the musical taste from all over the world.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's really interesting about Somewhere Nowhere as a venue, like I mentioned, my friend Letitia DeValor would frequently do some Thursdays in the evening, and it's a very casual, very loungy vibe during those times. But it also has the potential to transform into a space that can host these bigger names. So, could you talk a little bit about maybe that shift that might happen from going from day to night at Somewhere Nowhere?
So yeah, first of all, our DJ stage, we actually it transforms itself. It lends itself, it'll transforms itself for like live music acts. Like for example, like Wednesdays, we have a full-on jazz five-piece band that goes live, and when you walk in there, it literally takes you to another era. Live music, tap dancing, swing dancing, and all that stuff, and that goes well with after work. With, for example, your Thursdays after work, we do a little bit more loungy vibe. Just to kind of like create that whole atmosphere for the after work crowd and the corporate crowd to come in, and then gradually we'll start transitioning in terms of like upping the energy for the beats, and then transforming it into nightlife. The whole space, from day into night, we have, for example, our Saturday sunset party. We have this whole transition where like you start off from the day, and then our sunset drops, and the whole place turns into like a golden hour,
Yeah.
and then it goes straight into nightlife. So it's a whole experience in terms of like just like finding the finding the balance of properly transitioning the night into what we do for nightlife, like a full on high energy stuff.
And I think an important part of that, and something that you have talked about a little bit on your website, is the state of the art sound system
Yes.
that's installed. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, so sound is very important for the type of music that we go after, whether it's deep house, whether it's jazz. We went after KV2 sound systems. This is like a sound system where you could talk like how we're talking right now and still hear the music super crisp, and feel everything. And, the music and the sound pretty much really adds to it's a very important addition to the kind of like the feel and the immersive feel that we're trying to instill or trying to bring for the patrons when they come in. It's like you got to feel that bass hitting your guts, but you also got to hear every little thing. So sound system was, and the AV system is the state of the art system. Like we're constantly upgrading it, finding new ways to you know, uh, adjust the sounds of different frequencies. We actually bring in this guy Steve from I think it was Nashville. He built like Pretty Lights Studio and all that stuff. So like every few months we'll bring him up, we'll fly him up so he could adjust the different frequencies and make sure that the sound is on par to the level, to the level of venue that we're trying to bring to the space.
Yeah, and I think one of the things again that's interesting to me about this venue is its location in Chelsea, right? Kind of on the eastern portion of Chelsea, and a little bit of a
Turn,
interesting question because
yeah, it's
yeah,
Nomad in Chelsea.
Yeah, nomad, that kind of nomad Chelsea border.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that's interesting because I moved to New York in 2016, and in the 8 years that I've been here, it's like the clubs are slowly trickling over into Brooklyn and Queens. But I think it's so great to have a space like this in this area of Manhattan that I think, as you mentioned, kind of exposes this type of music to maybe a potentially different crowd. Could you talk a little bit about number one, a little bit about that, and then number two, for somebody who would just be interested in coming visit to somewhere nowhere, when and how could they do that?
Yes. So in terms of like music, in terms of the whole shift into Brooklyn, we saw that. Especially during quarantine, a lot of people kind of like shifted over to the outskirts of the city just because of all the lockdowns and all that stuff. A lot of people going to Miami, and you saw during that time you saw that music transition. And, pre-COVID, a lot of it was hip hop dominated, open format music dominated, and that's your top 40s and all that stuff. And just if you study the whole transition of how the music transitioned over from very top 40 hip hop oriented, you saw it transition over to deep house, tech house, and all that stuff, right? People start getting more educated with it. And yes, we wanted to build a venue and build our music program around that, and also offer something because, offer something in the city where people don't have to leave the city
Yep.
to enjoy this type of music. We wanted to, we at the same time, we are a VIP club. We wanted to kind of like elevate that experience where it's not just GA, like uh, so so it's just really just bringing back the experience back closer to where a lot of the people live, instead of having them travel all the way out there. And then in terms of if you've never been to somewhere nowhere, you could always go on the website, follow our Instagram, which is SWNWNYC. And we'll be posting all the live, all the events that we have going on with ticket links, where you could buy bar tabs or make a table reservation. Um, yeah.
Fantastic. And I want to ask, you've had a lot of success, heading so far, and now you're going to be heading into your second full year. Could you talk a little bit about what your vision is going forward as you kind of have some, traction with the venue now?
Well, we're actually last summer we started doing a lot of pop-ups. We started going after the pop-ups, finding outside locations, to put together shows where we normally wouldn't be able to at somewhere nowhere just because of the size of it. We're gonna be last summer we started doing 1,200 people to 1,500 people shows. More geared towards the hard ticket stuff. We're gonna be going after that, as part of our expansion, outside of somewhere nowhere. We're gonna be doing a lot of the pop-ups. We're looking into going into, Sundance, uh, Super Bowl like next year, stuff like that, right? And then within New York City, we're gonna start doing pop-ups that, a little bit more immersive pop-ups, but outside of somewhere nowhere, bigger spaces, and really just bringing the whole atmosphere of somewhere nowhere to another place, and just start doing that,
Yeah.
and and hopefully we are gonna start looking at maybe a second location in, another city.
Amazing. Well, so much congrats on the success, Nathan. That's great. And I want to, I guess, maybe end our conversation by asking, if there's anything else that I haven't asked that you think is important for people to know about the venue, or that you'd like to share.
Well, if you've never been, you got to come check it out. I think you covered all the, bases in that. But just got to check it out and really experience it for yourself. Experience the site, the sites that you get from somewhere nowhere. We're probably one of the highest rooftop nightclubs in the city still. And then in the summertime, our rooftop opens up into a pool. We have the whole pool experience, and then during the winter time, we winterize the rooftop to have igloos and all that stuff for like dinner experiences. So we're going to be a venue that operates all year round. And we're going to be offering a lot of different programs catered to every different like demographics, all demographics.
Amazing. Well, I personally cannot wait for this summer. Just a little plug.
Yeah.
The frozen strawberry daiquiri that you have on the roof is like the best thing I think I've ever drank. I was like,
I
I think
think
that's
that's
the
the
best drink I've ever had.
I think that's the actually that's the watermelon.
Yeah,
It's a partnership we did with Red Bull.
yeah. So small request to please bring that back this summer because I will be there. I will drink
We
all
definitely are. Like we definitely are. I drink it all the time too.
that. Amazing. Well, Nathan, thank you so much, and thank you for participating in this interview with Gray Area.
Of
Appreciate you.
course. Thank you for having me.